So I'm basically trapped in a horrifying situation with stupid Metallica band members, Kirk Hammett and James Hetfield. And what happened to me is not fair, and it's not because of me. I mean, technically, they should have just, they should have only involved me in this madness. But when Kirk Hammett's master got involved, they basically involved my cats. And that's where this turns into like the most horrifying tragedy. Um, Before Kirk Hammett's master got involved in this bullshit mess, Kirk Hammett and James Hetfield were doing witchcraft on me for like a year, and they were pretty nice. I mean, they didn't do anything, they didn't touch my cats. But at some point, Kirk Hammett was getting crazy, and he did start attacking my second to oldest cat, who was a gorgeous cat. I've had this, I mean, these were my children. Like, I've had this cat for 17 years, or I had her for 17 years. And, my cats were safe in their home. What happened was an invisible murder, and I'm angry, and I'm confused, and I'm shocked, but I can't feel anything because they've, like, taken all my feelings away, and they have me under some fucked up mind control, and they stole my sex energy. And while I was put under mind control by Kirk Hammett's master, um, I I didn't really know what was going on. Like, I was under mind control, and a bunch of fucked up crap was happening to me 24 hours a day, and I had no idea this was even happening. They cost me my job. They can these it's a long story. Like, Kirk Hammett's master and his friends are entities in the invisible realm, and they have a lot of abilities. Like, they can take over human beings, they can take over animals, they can neg cops on you. They did a lot of horrifying crap to me 24 hours a day, and I was under mind control, and I didn't know what was going on, and that's like a horrible 2-year story of hell. And that's fine. I mean, they can ruin me all they want, but this wasn't about me. This was about my cats, and innocent animals were murdered brutally in their home. This was an invisible murder, and people that do witchcraft, they can hurt your pets, and I've dealt with that before. I've dealt with a witch that led my cat away from her home, but somehow she came back. And there are people, they can do different things to your animals, and this is very common. But the things that Kirk Hammett, James Hetfield, and the Master and these psychos do is totally different. The things that they do are beyond comprehensible. I mean, they had me under mind control, and they had cartoon characters around me 24 hours a day. And the cartoon characters are real beings that they actually created because they can do that. And these were invisible cartoon characters that only I could see. And this started like in July of 2018. I woke up one morning and they put me in something they call containment. It's a long story. It's like a prison program. So they basically put me in like an invisible prison. And I didn't know what was going on. I was under mind control, and I just heard rumors that a human female was put in containment, and I didn't know what containment was. I was like, what are they talking about? And I had to beg to get out of this, and they kept talking about begging to get out of containment, and a whole bunch of shit was happening. Like, it's a long, horrid story, and there are cartoon characters talking to me 24 hours a day. There's a lot of shit that happened, and I was in this, but I was in it, but I was under some kind of fucked up mind control that only they can do. And I didn't know what was really happening. Like, it's like they can force you to forget about what happens. And during this 2-year period, they also stopped my menstrual cycle, so I didn't have my periods. And then after 6 months, they started mechanically bleeding my pelvic area, which they can actually do that. I didn't know all this. Like, I didn't know I wasn't having my periods, and then they started bleeding me just for fun, because these are beings of the invisible realm. They have, abilities that nobody has heard of or that humans don't know about. So of course I know about all this stuff now because I had to go through it. And what they put me through is like a whole other story. Like, I mean, it was horrifying. I was put in containment, which is a prison program, and they were supposed to release me from it, and they just wouldn't release me. They just kept fucking around. Um, it's a long story, and they explained it all to me over and over, like what I was in and what it means. And it's nothing important. It's just a horrifying thing to be a part of. The reason Kirk Hammett's master did this to me is because he knows me. He knows me from other lifetimes, as he showed me, and he showed me a bunch of past lives, and all the stuff he showed me, I remember. So I'm just like, I don't know if this is real, like if this really happened to me, but I remember, all this crap. And on top of that, he claims that he showed me one past life where two men were bullying me and tried to kill me, or they eventually killed me. And there was an inside joke where they called me ugly old loser. And I remember that. Like, I remember that scenario, and I remember those two men. And he tried to act like the two men, or they tried to act like the two men were Kirk Hammett and James Hetfield in a past life. I don't know if it was really them, but Kirk Hammett's master tried to say that me and Kirk Hammett and James Hetfield have had a lot of past lives together, and that's why they were bullying me in this lifetime. Again, I don't know if that's true, but that's what they tried to say. And but Kirk Hammett's master apparently knows everything about me. He knows everything about. I don't believe in past lives, but apparently they're real because I remember whatever he showed me. And I just remember he knows all my friends from past lives. Like, I mean, he knew every detail about me. And I had a dream about Kirk Hammett's master when I was like 3 years old, and I remember that dream. And while I was under mind control, he showed me that dream, or they showed me that dream, and they were like making fun of me. And he told me a lot. I mean, he showed me a lot of things that he claimed I came from a higher realm, and that that was his realm, and that his realm is right beneath the heavens. And I'm thinking, well, if he came from a higher realm, why is he doing all these malicious things? Like, I wasn't thinking that at the time, but I'm thinking that now. So I went through a lot of crap, and a lot of it wasn't, it was malicious, but some of it could have been construed as fun or cute or interesting. There were cartoon characters talking to me 24 hours a day. It was a containment committee, and that's like a long story as to why they created a committee. And Kirk Hammett and James Hetfield were first involved in this, and they had something called James Containment and Kirk's Containment. And none of this was fun. It was like heavy energy and dark energy, or they're burning, they're painful energy, basically. And there are a lot of things these beings and Kirk Hammett's master can do, and they put me through all this shit that nobody can imagine. Like, and I wasn't just under mind control. Like, stuff was really happening to me, and I didn't know it. Like, I had no idea this was all happening to me. I was also being tortured and burned 24 hours a day. They can actually burn you using hot energy, and no one's ever heard of this, but it's real because they did it to me. So they were burning me, and you can feel it on your body, and your hair actually falls out where they're burning you, and it damages your body. So yeah, they were doing all this shit to me, and they were burning my cats, and I didn't know they were burning my cats. I didn't know they were even burning me. You don't feel burning pain, but if you touch your body, you can feel it hot there. And so, I mean, they were doing a whole bunch of crap to me, like, and then they were showing me different ways of getting released 24 hours a day. The reason they call it getting released is because it's a prison program that they create, and they usually put demons in it, but sometimes they put humans in it, and it's usually in the invisible realm, but they do it to human beings as well. And so they put me in this, and my cats weren't supposed to be in this, but I guess they decided to put my cats in it too. And this is all invisible stuff that nobody has ever heard of. And I'm not even angry. I mean, I got fucked over badly. My life got ruined, and that's fine. They can ruin me, but this isn't even about ruining my life. Like, my cats, two of my cats were murdered violently in their home after being mocked. And it's what they did to my cats is a whole other story. And I had no idea my cats were like being tortured, and because I was under mind control. And it's horrifying what happened. It's a really, it's not even a tragedy. It's much worse. It's the most horrifying thing I can't even imagine. It's just, it's not fair what happened. And I mean, I'm angry, but basically I'm still under mind control, and I'm being forced to say all this stuff because, like, sometimes I'm scared to talk about my cats, and then sometimes I want to, I'm being forced to post a video about it. That's because Kirk Hammett wants me posting videos about this. I don't know if he's trying to set me up to get sued by Metallica one day, because basically they're just trying to fuck me over, and I'm not sure why. But of course, there's no proof to any of this, so that's why they do it. There's no proof to witchcraft or whatever they can do. But they didn't have to involve innocent cats in this. Like, this is, it's not even a horrifying tragedy. It's worse. It's much worse. And so yeah, they put me in a prison program that they call containment, and I didn't know I was in it. I just know there's cartoon characters, and they were begging for me to be released, and then they were just doing a whole bunch of shit around me, and they had different characters that were real beings, and they had all sorts of names, and the characters, they kept switching them out and creating new characters, and the characters were supposed to release me from this, but nobody would. Like, everybody just wanted me to stay in this, and some of them wanted me to die because I was supposed to, like, end up dead in this. And at first, yeah, Kirk Hammett and James Hetfield were involved as, like, invisible beings, as characters, but then they went on tour, and before they went on tour, like, the cartoon character James Hetfield, like, invited me to go on tour, but I wasn't really there. So I said no, but it wasn't really me. It was some character inside of me. And so then I was left to deal with all this bullshit that I was dealing with. And again, I was under mind control, and that just means that I wasn't aware of what was happening. Like, they have abilities where they can put you through this, and you know it's happening, but you really don't. And because if it was me now, I'd be freaking out, and I would be, trying to end it, or I would do something crazy. It's a long story what they did to me, and it's not even me, it's about what they did to my cats. And so this was like, it's like a pet cemetery type situation. And what happened to me was a very deep, it's not deep, it's like there's a lot of, there were other higher beings involved in this. Some were trying to warn these things to leave me alone, and they just wouldn't. And it's a horrible, it's not even horrible. It's not fair what happened. And I don't know if Kirk Hammett, is just like, oh, I want attention for this. Like, oh, I don't know if he wants people to know that Metallica did this to me. It's not even Metallica. It was reiterated over and over that, like, Rob and Lars were not involved. And I don't think they really get involved in this type of stuff. That was mentioned over and over, that Rob and Lars pretty much stated they're not involved in this. And, that James Hetfield's daughter knew what was going on. And she didn't really stop it. And, Kirk Hammett, James Hetfield could have stopped this master from doing all this shit to me. And when it all started, it was all about the master, and I didn't know who the master was. Like, I didn't know what was going on. Like, all I know is I woke up one morning, and this was after I went to Key West, and this happened because I went to Spain, and then that idiot Kirk Hammett, he was starting to get crazy as, like, an invisible being. I don't know if it was really him, or he was trying to create a story. I'm pretty sure it was him. Like, he started to get crazy, and that's because I was going to Spain, and I hadn't been out of the United States in like 20 years. And so Kirk Hammett made a big deal that I was going to Spain, like, whatever relationship we had using his witchcraft abilities. He just made it a big deal, and he freaked out because I was going to Spain. Like, he chased me around when I was getting my passport, and he was freaking out that I wasn't going to get my passport. And like, he was just trying to make it like a big deal. Like, he even though this wasn't in person, this was using his witchcraft abilities or whatever he did. And like I said, we had like a relationship going on this way, and he does it to other people too. It's not a real relationship, it's just whatever the fuck it is. It's like long distance or whatever, witchcraft. And so he freaked out because I was going to Spain, and he just tried to make it a big deal. And then something happened in the airplane, like we were scared the airplane was going to crash, and then he made it seem like there was a realm change or some bullshit, and there was. I don't think there was, but it was really weird. It was like he was like I said, he hung out around me as an invisible being, however he does this. And so Kirk Hammett like made a huge deal that like I went to Spain, and he chased me to Spain, and he chased me in Spain. But he did tell me that if I went to Spain, he was going to destroy me. And you know, at that point, Kirk Hammett's master was already going to get involved and do all this shit to me. He was just waiting for the right time. And, you know, this is stuff he's put me through before because he knows me from other lifetimes, and he showed me all this. And he showed me everything he showed me, like, I was familiar with. And these are, like, you know, other cartoon characters from other realms and all this weird stuff. And the concept of being released from this containment. And so when I came back from Spain, like, Kirk Hammett, he was already flipping out, and he was just freaking out. And then he started like he caused a fight between me and my sister in Spain, and he was just going crazy. Like, he started giving my energy to different people, and he can do that. And he started kind of terrorizing me and freaking out simply because I went to Spain. I'm thinking, you know, the real Kirk Hammett has been to Spain probably like 100 times, and what the fuck is wrong with this freak? And so then I went to Key West at some point shortly after to contain him. It's called containing them, like calming him down. I thought if I went to Key West, he would calm down, but he was getting crazier, and something happened in Key West. Like, I went to this cat, the Ernest Hemingway cat house, and Kirk Hammett like freaked out because people were rude to me, and he did all this weird shit. And he was just chasing me around in Key West, and it wasn't working. Like, he wasn't calming down. And a bunch of weird crap happened in Key West. Like, it's a long story, and I was only there for like a day or two. And then the day I came back from Key West, that's when Kirk Hammett's master put me in this stupid containment crap. And I woke up under mind control, and I didn't know what was going on. And a lot of stuff happened in Spain too. Like, I went to go to a healer, and Kirk Hammett made a big deal out of all of it. And then when I was put under mind control, they were trying to act like it was like a continuation of what had already happened, what was already happening. So I didn't see it as much as any different, but I didn't know what was happening. All I know is that like a bunch of cartoon characters like led me to Daytona Beach, and they made it seem like I was gonna die. And then the entities involved, these are Kirk Hammett's and James Hetfield's friends from the invisible realm, and yes, it's all real and true. And entities exist in the invisible realm, but we don't know them and we don't talk to them. But Kirk Hammett and James Hetfield know them, and these are their friends, and they do horrible things to people. I mean, they can give you cancer, they can give you diseases, they can destroy your life. It's a long story. You know, that's the reason they talk about seek and destroy. I mean, that's not a lie. They really do seek and destroy, and that's because of these stupid entity things that they know, and they hang out around them and do all this shit to people. And this is like it's beyond a serious situation. Like, at this point, like, these entity things, they told me, oh, the industry's gonna get involved. Like, I was first led to Daytona Beach, and they made me feel like I was gonna die, and they told me all this shit was gonna happen involving the industry. And this containment committee, which was like a bunch of cartoon characters, was around me, and I couldn't see them, but they were around me and I could hear them. And I was taken to a hotel, and then Kirk Hammett was talking about the healer, and they were warning me about this healer that I saw in Spain, and I didn't know what was happening. And there were characters. One was called like Demon Kirk, and I was Kirk Hammett's friend, and they showed him to me in my house, and I was under mind control, but they were showing me like different characters, and I didn't really know what was happening. And then at some point I was driving around, and they forced me to stop my car and bow to the ground, and then they claimed that they took all my energy and they showed how they threw it into the world. And then I was going to a Sweet Tomatoes, and I saw like a fat cartoon. I saw a fat cartoon character dancing in a box. Like he was like maybe 10 feet in front of me. Like there were cartoon characters around me, and I didn't realize this because I was under mind control. And so I just looked at that character and I thought, oh my God, is that Kirk Hammett's master? And I didn't know what was happening. Like I didn't know that I was put in under mind control and all this shit was happening to me. And it's really not fair, because what they did to me was beyond horrifying. It wasn't even horrifying. Like they were only supposed to stay for 1 month. Like they were supposed to put me in this containment prison program for 1 month, and then release me and just leave my life. But instead they kept me in this for 2 years, and they put my cats in it, and 5 of my cats' lives were destroyed. And it's a long story. 2 were murdered horribly, and 3 were led away because they can fully control animals, and they can actually just lead them away from their homes. And anyone that does witchcraft can do that, but these beings do it differently. They do it like they're sitting there pretty much like mocking my cats, and talking about how my cat is being led away, and then my cat never came back. And what we went through is beyond horrifying. It's not fair. It's just not fair. And I mean, I'm very angry, but I can't do anything. I'm helpless. I mean, I don't have abilities. I can't do anything about beings in the invisible realm. I didn't know what was happening. Like, I had no idea what was happening. I still don't know my cats are gone. Like, I know they're gone, but I'm still under some kind of mind control where it feels like they're coming back. Basically, they made a deal that they were supposed to fully restore everything. And so these entities or beings, they have abilities. They can actually go back in time, or they can undo things. So the only reason I'm alive is because they kept undoing everything that they were doing to me. And it was part of, I guess, this containment crap they put me in. So yeah, they basically were just undoing everything. And also, when you get put in this containment stuff, like, your body gets damaged, and you generally might end up dead. So I was supposed to die within the first 2 weeks of being put under this mind control. Like, I was literally supposed to die from being under mind control in 2 weeks. And Kirk Hammett and James Hetfield were first involved, and there's just like all sorts of bullshit under mind control. Like, it was Kirk Hammett and James Hetfield, and cartoon characters, and different characters with names. They can do a lot of shit under mind control. Like, I was walking up and down my block with like a clock on my head, and I didn't even know this was happening. Like, they were putting me through a bunch of challenges, and I was walking up and down my block, and it felt like there was a huge clock on my head, and they were doing all sorts of shit to me, and I didn't know it. Like, I was just kind of like doing it. And it's a long story. Like, I went through a lot of crap, and I wish Kirk Hammett and James Hetfield would have helped me, because they knew me, and like, all the characters knew everything about me. They knew my family, and nobody helped us. Like, they pretty much just destroyed us. And it's not fair, like, what we had to go through. This wasn't like a light experience. I mean, this went on every second of my existence, for basically 2 years straight, almost. And it's pretty horrifying. Like, my thoughts are to Kirk Hammett and James Hetfield. Like, I mean, how much fucking shit can you put one person through? The amount of shit I went through is unbelievable. I mean, I was tortured and burned over and over, and they can burn you, and it's not just mind control. Like, they're really burning your body using hot energy. And different cartoon characters tortured me 24 hours a day in all types of ways. It's a long story. Like I went through like horrifying crap no one can imagine. And then Kirk Hammett and James Hetfield created the ABCs of Metallica, and that was just, and those are just cartoon characters. And that was just James Hetfield showing me, like, this is going to continue, because, you know, they knew I was under mind control, and they knew that I didn't know what the fuck was really happening to me. And, you know, they allowed all this to happen, and they were supposedly moderators in all of this. Like, they were actually moderators. Like, this was like a hosted thing happening to me from these invisible beings. And, you know, they can speak English, and they're normal beings. They know everything about the human realm. They're not idiots. They can put on comedies. They could have made it like a cute comedy, and they were supposed to release me nicely. Instead, they decided they wanted to make it the most horrifying tragedy and murder my cats. And this isn't even the most horrifying tragedy. Like, it's not fair to my cats, and it's not fair to me. And it's not even a not fair situation. Like, I pretty much want to end my life and make sure my cats are okay. It's not even scary. Like, if it was scary, you know, I'd be lucky. It's horrifying. These beings don't just murder you. I mean, they destroy creatures, and their level of destruction is very extreme. They're about torturing and burning, and they don't just want to torture and burn you once. They talked about how my cats are going to be tortured and burned forever. And it's a very scary situation. So I'm like, pretty much I got fucked over by Kirk Hammett, James Hetfield, Kirk Hammett's master, and their friends. And I don't know how angry, like, they created like 30 themes to destroy me. Like a theme of deeming me worthless, and themes of having sex with my mother. They put my mother in an orgasm program. But the worst part is, like, just they wanted to leave me and my cats bitter, and so they wanted to just do the most horrifying crap to us and leave us bitter. And they wanted to bless my old mother and leave her, like, send her to heaven or some bullshit. And the things they did were outrageous. Like, I mean, this was nonstop for 2 years straight. And I mean, me and my cats are bitter. Like, we're not even bitter. Like, we're in pain, and this isn't even over yet. Like, they never fully released us. They violently murdered 2 of my cats, and what they did to them, and then what they talked about, I can't even talk about right now, because it's so scary, because there's nothing I can do. I mean, I'm just a human being. I don't have any abilities. These types of entity beings, they don't usually get involved in the human realm, because humans are helpless. We can't do anything. But these jerks that hang out with Metallica, I mean, they didn't have to be this evil to me and my cats. And they also knew me from other lifetimes, and that was talked about over and over. Like, Kirk Hammett's master knows me, and you know, I had that dream about him when I was 3, and he knows everything about me. And you know, he talked about how he was jealous of my relationship with God. And you know, I'm like, if he knows me, why did he destroy me and my cats? Like, it makes no sense. And you know, I don't know how angry they want me. Like, I mean, it's a lot of shit to do to one person. I mean, they did a lot of shit to me. Like, they burned my vagina over and over, and they forced me to clear it on my air conditioning vent. They would put clearing energy in there, and that energy is supposed to, like, heal the hot energy. And I mean, this is real stuff. Like, that energy was really put in my AC vent. And so I would pull my pants down and have to clear it. And again, I was under mind control, and I didn't know what the fuck was happening. You know, it was just, I can't even go through all the crap that I had to go through. And that's fine. They can destroy me. But my cats were destroyed. And this isn't, like I said, destruction. This is worse than destruction. And you know, I'm in terror for my cats, and I can't do anything. Like, I didn't have those cats 20 years ago so that they can get destroyed by Metallica band members using, like, they call this live uncontained torture, and it's like invisible torture. And they actually hooked us up to a torture burning machine, and they were doing all this stuff to me and my cats. And yeah, I mean, this is all real. They can do this. People just don't know about it because they'll never be introduced to this. I'm not really angry. I'm like, a murder victim. Like, I'm in confusion. I'm in fear. I'm helpless. I'm terrified for my cats. Even my cats that died, I'm so terrified for them, because they talked about how they threw my cat in hell, and they can do that. They can throw something in hell because they're invisible beings. They've been to hell, and they talked about hell and how it's not that bad. And in Kirk Hammett and James Hetfield know all about hell as well. And I was shown, I was shown certain levels of hell and all this weird shit. And so, I mean, I'm like, my oldest cat, I mean, she's like the sweetest, most innocent cat. She was like she was an angel from heaven. Like, all my cats, I mean, all animals are angels, but these cats were angels. And they were the sweetest, most innocent animals to ever exist. And this cat, like, they claim that they talked about, I won't get into the details of how they claim they murdered her, and they claim she went through the most pain to ever exist in the history of time. There were many superlatives used in this nonsense, and they claim that, like, oh, she went through the most pain to ever exist, and how they tortured and burned her over and over, and how she got so bitter because it wouldn't end. They even showed me all sorts of shit under mind control while they were burning her, but I didn't know what was happening. And I think that was after they had killed her, and they were supposed to the whole thing is, they have the ability to undo something or either go back in time and pretend it didn't happen. And they were supposed to pretend none of this happened. Like, they can actually go back in time and pretend it didn't happen. And these entity beings and demons can do that because they live in a different realm. Like, they live in the invisible world, and that's something they can do. And so they made it seem like they were gonna fully restore her. Like, I didn't know they had even killed her. It's a long story. Like, my oldest cat, like, I didn't know they had murdered her. They were mocking her and doing all this crap, and it was, again, these are invisible beings doing this. And I thought they were healing her, and I was under mind control. And then they had ended up killing her at some point, and then they acted like they were going to fully restore her and bring her back to life, and they never did. And I wasn't really there. Like, it's a horrible story. Like, all of it is beyond horrifying. And I'm not really angry. It's not like an anger thing. Like, I'm freaking out, and I don't know, I feel helpless, and I don't know what to do. I'm terrified for my cats. Again, this is not okay, they just killed her. Even if they killed her, that's beyond horrifying. But they didn't just murder her. They talk about how she turned into a demon cat, and they threw her in hell, and they gave her to a dungeon of demons, and she turned into a demon. It's not even scary. I mean, like, I believe it because they're not lying. That's what they can do. So my cats are in, I mean, it's like, like right now, if they still have me under some kind of mind control where it's not even real. Like, because if they didn't have me under this mind control, I would probably be crying all the time and freaking out over my cats, and I would have probably tried to save my other cats. I would have done something, but they make it seem like my cat didn't die, and like she's just somewhere around. And they also pretty much talked about how they were going to bring all my cats back, and I won't talk about how many cats I have. It's not that many, but they the amount of cats that I lost is a lot. I mean, and I'm in, me and my cats are bitter. I mean, there's one cat, and he lost 3 of his brothers, and he's confused as to where his brothers went. Like, I mean, my cats never disappeared. I mean, they never left their homes, and they were happy cats, and it's not even a horrifying situation. Like, it's beyond horrifying, and I'm just angry and confused as to why Kirk Hammett and James Hetfield and this master idiot think it's fun to murder cats and to destroy animals and to... I don't know why they find this fun or interesting. I'm confused. And I still have some hope that they can bring my cats back, because that was talked about over and over. Like, they talked about how they were going to bring 2 of my cats back, and how they were going to grab my cats from other timelines and realms, and they can manipulate your dreams, and they even showed me in a dream like my cat's coming back. And so part of me still feels like maybe they will bring, and the master can actually bring them back, and I know, because I know his abilities, and so can Kirk Hammett and James Hetfield. I was told that if I went to a Metallica concert, my cat would be there. Again, I was under mind control, so I didn't really know what was happening. But I was told that, yeah, if you go to a Metallica concert, you will get your cat back, and she'll be there. Like, they'll bring her back. And so I'm like in a really, it's a really bad situation, and it's very, very scary. And this is not just about murdering something. These beings that hang out with Metallica, they like to, I mean, they want to bury you alive. Like, they talked about how my cats were fully restored in the ground, and how they were technically buried alive, and they were living in the ground, and they kept them alive because they can do that, and how they're still being tortured and burned. And I actually wanted to go dig my cats up, because I was like, it's probably true. Like, maybe they won't be there, if I dig them up, because those beings might just be talking shit. But they're also talking about what they do or have done, and what they can do. And so I'm still terrified for my cats, and I still want to go dig them up, and I don't know what to do. And Kirk Hammett and James Hetfield didn't have to be this evil to like these amazing innocent cats. I don't know if they just want me angry at them, like, oh, we'll murder your cats and we'll destroy them, and oh, now you're pissed off at us. And I'm not sure if that's their intent, or I don't know if they basically just have gone mad. What happened to me what happened to the situation is very severe, and I'm in confusion, and I don't know what to do. I don't know how to save my cats. Even the ones that died, I don't know what's going on with them. Kirk Hammett and James Hetfield know where my cats are at. 3 of my cats were led away slowly to other homes, and they can actually lead your cats to other homes, and they can force other people to take care of them, and that's what they claim they did. And so they can put people under mind control and force them to take care of a cat. And Kirk Hammett and James Hetfield did that to a stray cat I was taking care of, and they led him away, and I didn't know where he went, but when this all started, they led him back to my house. He was a few houses down with a new owner, and that's fine, because they led him back, and they showed me, like, where I met his owner, and I just let him stay with the owner, because I'm like, okay, that's fine, whatever, he seems like he's doing good there. But my other cats, those were my cats and my children, and at least Kirk Hammett and James Hetfield led this cat back, and they showed me where the cat is at, and they did it like in a nice way. But these stupid entity beings, they led my cats away, and they made fun of the whole situation. They mocked everything. They talked about how somebody else was enjoying my cats, and how, like, the owners now don't want to let them go. And so I lost, like, 3 beautiful... I lost these cats, and they even told me the apartment complex and apartment number where one of the cats are at. But I didn't want to go. Something won't let me check, and I don't want to just go knock on a door and be like, "Oh, hey, do you have a cat?" I mean, or I lost my cat. But I feel like my other 3 cats might be somewhere nearby, and they're being taken care of by other people. And Kirk Hammett and James Hetfield know where my cats are at. Kirk Hammett posted on his Twitter a gray tabby the day after my gray tabby disappeared, and just show me that he knows where my cat's at. So this was a horrifying situation. What I've had to go through, and I don't know what the purpose was for these idiots to do this, for these psychos. They don't even know me in person, and they did all this shit through their witchcraft and invisible shit that they can do. And it is beyond horrible. It's not even horrible. I'm confused. I don't know what to do. I don't know if I should try to meet them and beg them for my cats back. I mean, technically, Kirk and James can bring my cats back. They can even probably go back in time or do whatever the fuck they can do and bring them back. And it's a really horrible it's so horrible. Like, I am so confused. I don't really know what to say or do or how to feel about the situation. Like, if they did that to my 2 oldest cats, I mean, that's beyond horrifying. And if they died, that's beyond horrifying. But they died, and hopefully then they're okay and they're in peace. But I don't know what happened to them. And they wouldn't even let me. I still haven't even grieved for my cats. And then my other 3 cats that are missing, I'm still hoping they can lead them back to my house, but they won't. So I mean, I got fucked over very badly by these people, and they're still in my life doing shit to me. Like, they won't leave, and I am an idiot for posting these videos because they're forcing me to post these videos. But but it's a very weird, it's a very confusing situation, all of it. And I don't know if they're just trying to set me up to one day be sued by them. They can say, oh, she's posting shit about Metallica. I don't know why they did all this to me. But it's a very scary and horrible situation.